when they were doing the India data sets on Earth observation. I said, now, are you going to like just use it and take it as an overall broader model because we are evolving that model, or it's going to be like India-specific thing? I think their answer was that the nuances of Earth observation are so geospatial, and that's why it's geospatial, that it may not be so useful for any other country as such. But yeah, there will be certain metadata which could be useful when we are leveraging the algorithm. But I think the principle will apply whether we are talking in agri context or non-agri context. This question which you asked is not very agri context. I think it's an overall India context, that how we are going to take care of our data. And one of the, I don't know, it's a fun fact or what kind of fact, when I was talking to my research team, they told me that all LLMs broadly are trained on 6 countries' data, majority. Rest of the world doesn't even been used to train those LLMs. So yes, everything will be needed, for us will be needed very India-centric, and we need to deploy policy and some part of a tooling to take into control. But I think the concept which is emerging now a lot, which what we call policy as a code, needs to come in, saying that you have to codify policy. Otherwise, it might just go out of our hands when we're talking about privacy and trust issues, which will start to come up.
So, and Vikas, when we're talking about policy and that theme, what are some of the unlocks that actually need pilots to go to scale when we talk about digital, especially on the market linkage front? I think some of your programs have scaled across multiple states, right? But what does it take to go from 200, 500,000 to millions? And what's holding it back? Because we see a lot of pilots happening all around, but in terms of scale, yeah.
I think one, that notion that lots of pilots have been happening but nothing is scaled up may also not be very correct. Many things are scaling up now.
Correct.
Say, for example, in Maharashtra, we recently, about 3 months back, we launched an AI-based chatbot for the farmers, which talks to farmers in Marathi, and in the back end has curated data sets and knowledge base, which are owned up by the government. So there is trust in that. It only looks at that.
Correct. For advisory.
For advice. And we've been able to, within 3 months, as of yesterday, we already have 4 lakh downloads of that. And we are hoping within 3 months, and in India, the scale we work at, we're still calling it a pilot, right?
Yeah, fair.
So we're saying we'll have 1 million farm boundaries mapped through a geospatial technology, and a chatbot which will have a 1 million downloads, which we are calling as a pilot. So I don't know if there was another country, it would have covered the entire country.
Population, yeah.
So that is one. So how, the answer to the question, how do you scale up? I think 3 things. One is the trust. Say, for example, we have lots of chatbots. We have Digital Green. We have one in Maharashtra. We have something in Varanasi also, which IRRI has developed. The thing is, if there is somebody who is able to, willing to be held accountable for the kind of information which is coming from these systems, the take-up will increase. You know, say, for example, somebody is saying that we're taking data from multiple websites, will not fly with a farmer. But in our case, where the government says we are accountable for the information you're getting. That is first. Second part, I think, is standardization. And that's where I talk about stacks and ecosystems. If you don't standardize, everybody is standardizing around their technologies.
Correct.
Then I think scaling up becomes difficult, because the procurement policies of governments are such that you just, even if a system is very well working in some pilot area, To scale it up, I still have to have a global tender and RFP. So if we were to standardize, say for example in US you have this FedRAMP certified cloud infrastructure, which any government can just buy because it has been tested. So second would be the standardization. Third would be contextual, something that might have worked in
North won't work.
Kenya or Brazil or somewhere else may not work. In fact, I'm working on multiple agriculture projects with the government. Within India, what we do in Maharashtra
Correct.
is not something I'll do in Uttar Pradesh. Because
Practices would
they
also
both
be
have
different, yeah.
different readiness levels,
Correct.
different technology maturity, different requirements, different
Correct.
contexts. So I think third would be to be able to standardize systems to such an extent that contextualization requires minimal reconfiguration. So if we are able to take care of these things, I think scale up would not be an issue.
Yeah. I think he's whispering that, Pranav, you've spoken a lot. Drink some water and let the panelists answer some questions. Okay, I think while I review the questions, which are in a little small text, would anyone want to take a stab? And I think we have, different archetypes of people in the room right now. We'll have some certain people from policy, certain people from foundations, certain impact investors, certain, say, startups all together. What is the big idea in digital market access that each of them should support where there's still a white space or unsolved or still has a gap? If you were to just take a stab out there, what are some of the things that you would want to leave people back with? And while that is happening.
Okay, I'll take that because it is very rare that you have competing industry players sitting and you can ask them for something.
It's a one-way exam.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, for us, you asked about a moonshot kind of a thing. Would be to see basically, if you ask me, in my work, we've done digital literacy studies across 30 countries and have been talking about digital divide all the time. I think now with LLMs, if we can configure them to country specifications, the definition of digital literacy would change from humans having capacity to run smart apps to smart apps learning what a human wants and delivering that. So if we are able to do that, where the front end is a mechanism for a system, irrespective of his digital literacy level, his tech savviness, to be able to talk some user interface, be it a telephone number, be it a mobile screen, be it a facilitation center, and articulate what he wants. And the digital systems then, irrespective of how complex backend we have to make, are able to deliver that. So combining your LLMs, agentic AI, etc., has the time come where we actually do a whole of government approach, which means that for a citizen, the government is just one entity. I can just go to that entity and speak out what I want, and it returns me a public service or information, whatever I'm seeking. So I would say that is something which has the capacity to turn the digital divide into a digital dividend.
Got it. I think from the crowd, we have 3 archetypes of questions. I think one archetype, and anyone can take this, though they have specifically asked for people, but I'll be lenient, sir. One archetype is how do you drive inclusion across 2 parameters. One is access to government schemes. And the second is for marginal, deep rural, tribal areas where digital may not have reached. I know the latter is something that we can't solve for today, but at least on the former, in terms of scheme access, any of the stakeholders you're working with who are driving that regard?
Shall I? Yeah, so one of the work streams that most of our grantees typically take up is convergence, right? Because there are so many, and Vikas was also mentioning earlier that I don't think, we do also think that there is a lot of innovation already there, but that exists in silos, right? So you have organizations which are now thankfully just focused on providing schemes, access to small and marginal farmers, and they are creating capacities in the communities itself that one or two individuals can actually get expertise in that, and then they unlock the scheme for the rest of the community who may not be as digitally savvy or might not have the patience or the literacy levels to actually go through the procedure in general, right? So I think that work for us has really helped unlock or multiply the resources that are available in a project, because then you get access to the government schemes, and government is the largest developmental organization, right? So once your communities are connected with that, with easy access, with understanding of what it takes, right from first step is knowledge. Most of the farmers wouldn't even know that there is a government scheme available, and the government schemes are also available at a national level, at a state level, at a district level, right? So, and you spoke about the tribal communities, then there is an ITDA which is also providing a lot of schemes on the ground. So the first one is the lack of awareness in itself, and the second one is how do I go about it, right? Like I know that there is a scheme like that. Am I eligible? Am I not eligible? And if I am eligible, then how do I apply for it? How to get access to that? And I think there is an immense role for technology to play, and the Digital Greens platform, what Nidhi was showcasing earlier, is also going to serve that that ask from the communities that they should have access to government schemes at a very customized, at a very localized, contextualized manner. So yeah, it's immensely powerful because you suddenly have a multiplier of resources that are available to you.
And I think just to add to Nishant, I think a lot of scheme access today is obviously constrained because of awareness, but is also constrained due to lack of ability to apply for the scheme. For example, you need detailed project reports that a person has to apply for whenever he's taking an asset. You get a capex subsidy and interest subvention, but they don't know how to create it. They wait for, the foundation support to come to help them, and they don't have time. I think one idea out there that I would like to put out is AI-based DPR creation. I think that is one tool that today does not exist. Everyone's creating it in silos for their own schemes. But if something is as easy to support someone, intelligently create fixed capital formation, which the government also trying to push, I think will be super helpful.
Can I just add a couple of more things to this, right? The biggest blocker is, of course, lack of documentation.
Correct.
Right? And that's where most often you get stuck, or any community gets stuck. The second, I just want to add a further nuance there, like we can debate for hours on how to solve that, but one of the other concerns that exists is that the land ownership in the name of women is abysmal.
Correct.
Right? So if the government scheme delivery is going to be hinging on the land record, it becomes a challenge for women to access.
I would like to add that further, talking about tenant farmers, which are almost 50% of the population, but still not documented as farmers, who do not even get that. Yes. But maybe to be more on to the next question in the interest of time. I think the next question is more about financing. I think financing as a tool to drive digital market access. I think we've spoken a lot about technology, but what are some of the innovative financing models that you would have seen within the ecosystem that are actually helping an FPO or a farmer, obviously yes, but an FPO who's never done market linkage actually do market linkage? So some people are talking about co-funding models, some people are talking about, I personally feel that as an ecosystem, what we should create is a risk fund that helps at least the first 10 or 20 trades that an FPO does, because you do make money over an average, you don't make it at the start. But any new ideas on financing models that you feel that the crowd could?
So I think in the bank-funded projects, we are using multiple kind of financing models. Some are subsidizing the service itself. Say, for example, in some of the areas where we have very good applications which some of the agri-tech entrepreneurs have made. if they are able to demonstrate that there is a demand for it and it is adding value to the agriculture practices and is verified by
Correct.
the farmers, the government is able to subsidize subscription to that service. Then we also have, as you might be knowing, built up alternate credit
Underwriting.
rating models.
Yeah.
You know, where if there is a farmer who has no credit history, still based upon his land, crop, and what he's been doing, or even the warehouse
Thin
receipt
file
system.
signals, mobile data.
Yeah, we have a blockchain-based warehouse receipt system
Correct.
implemented in Maharashtra, where you put your produce in the warehouse and 80% of its value the bank gives you immediately because everything is on the blockchain. The moment you sell it, the bank takes that money back. So that is another way of financing. Then we have some agreements with the banks where the governments give a back-ended subsidy. Say, for example, if you take a loan of 100 rupees and you pay it on time, 80 rupees you pay on time, rest of the 20% the government pays.
Correct.
So
Like a
there are
prompt
multiple
repayment
financing models which are being basically supported.
Correct.
But then again, for every kind of a situation, there is a different context. There are pros and cons of each of the models, and you have to see what fits in a particular context.
Very true.
I'll just add to it, and it's because I'm from tech and talking finance, so it's strictly my personal view, not an IBM view, so don't hold IBM for this. But I recently got into farming.
Okay.
Okay, so I
Yeah.
have my farm, and we
Oh, wow.
started the farming in Udaipur area. And you know, it is so interesting that when you're talking about financing model, I was just discussing with my partner, and I was telling him that a lot of time we all invest in startups, right? We invest very like minimal amount in startups, known circles, all of that. I was telling my partner that once we settle a little bit, let's adopt few farms. Okay, there's this adoption thing,
Correct.
right? Because we see this lot happening in education, right? That we adopt schools. I just met somebody who said they work with government schools as a thing. So probably if, and I see a lot of urban people now have interest in farming,
Correct.
right? And I think if we can start adopting few villages, right, saying that, and then I think we'll be very close to problem statement also.
That's a
That what's
great
the
idea to put
problem
out there.
statement, right? And then we can invest a bit, do a little bit profit sharing, not charge them any interest,
Correct.
which they actually pay. When they take personal loans, I think they pay a lot of high interest. So I actually put this from my personal experience, and surely I'm going to do that once I settle. I'm almost there, like it's 12 months in action.
Yeah.
So I want to do that, but I think if we can all little bit, it's also moonshoot idea
Yeah.
from me,
Yeah.
that if we can work like the way collaboratively, I see education as one area where the foundations, org, industry to government, everybody has worked very well on primary education to
Correct.
bring that level. Probably we can do something similar for farmers.
How are we doing on time? I think we're good, right? Okay.
I think this is an excellent idea. We should talk more about it.
Thank you so much. That was a wonderful discussion. And it has given us immense food for thought, I'm sure. With that, please join me in thanking our brilliant speakers today. I'd like to invite them to come and accept a small felicitation from us. May we start with you, Alok? Geeta? Nishant? Vikas? May I invite Nidhi on stage as well, please? Yeah. Pranav?
That's a good color. I think I got the best one. I'm the black.
I got a bright one.
Oh,
Thank you.
thanks, Nidhi. Let's have a picture with all the panelists together. And Nidhi, please. Yes.
Behind?
Yeah, maybe in front as well.